Your business's success depends on relationships with customers, relationships with employees, and relationships with stakeholders. What do they all have in common? They're all human. Because no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Welcome to the Human Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Karl Pontau. Each week I bring you stories, insights, and practical advice that you can apply from experts to your growing company and daily life. This week, I'm excited to connect with Adam O'Connor. As Chief Commercial Officer at Gear Inc., he spearheads international sales strategies, drives revenue growth, and forges strategic partnerships across North America, Europe, and Asia-Pacific region. With over a decade of experience in global sales, business development, and offshoring, he has focused his expertise in scaling operations and optimizing customer engagement in diverse sectors, including tech, finance, social media, travel, and manufacturing, and healthcare. His journey includes roles at CloudStaff, where as Chief Revenue Officer and Chief Sales and Marketing Officer, he expanded business process outsourcing and offshoring solutions. This experience has given him unique insights into leveraging global talent to enhance efficiency and drive business success. Congrats on Grow Fast Podcast and welcome to the Human Connection Podcast.
Thanks, Carl. Great to be here. Really looking forward to our talk.
Awesome, yeah, because I mentioned the podcast you talked earlier before we recorded about you being on a lot of podcasts, and I'd love to hear more about your expertise on how to bring together international teams to accelerate growth, because it seems like these days with how much the world is connected through technology, that having international teams is a real key for success. So how do you help companies achieve that?
Well, I've been, as you said in your intro, I've been doing it for over a decade now. I started within the BPO industry at CloudStaff. I was employee number 35. I grew that team from basically myself all the way up to a multinational, multi-region sales team supported by an SDR team. And with that came challenges with people's cultures, with how to get the best out of people. But I think the number one thing that we learn along the way is we manage outcomes rather than people. So my number one driver, although my role is to bring in revenue, my number one driver is to make each person who I work with the best possible version of themselves. By doing that, we look at the outcomes that they need to achieve, and we give them the tools through servant leadership, which I'm a big believer in, to be able to achieve the best version of themselves. Some people have gone on to run their own companies. Some people are now running their own teams as CROs, CCOs, things like that. But it's all about delivering what people want and need. COVID was a terrible, terrible thing for a lot of people around the world. But what it did do is shifted businesses' focus to how can we continue in a remote setting. Once you get to that remote setting, the next logical step is, okay, if we're in a remote setting, why can't we find people in different locations with really good skill sets to complement the people we already have onshore? So we have been doing this for a long time, and for a long, long time now, international big conglomerates have been outsourcing to low-cost destinations to find talent. And in the last 10, 15 years, small to medium businesses have now started to pick up the pace and understand that this is something that's happening. Moving to the cloud with your systems has allowed your employees to be anywhere in the world to achieve that. So we look at people from all walks of life, whether that be engineering backgrounds, whether it be personal assistants, whether it be software developers or customer care agents, and find the best people at the best price to really push on with the company and accelerate the growth. It not only allows you to save costs and expand your team, but it also allows you to do things that some other companies can't do. If you're looking for a 24/7 customer care team, doing that in a Western country, whether it be the UK, the US, it can be quite cost prohibitive. You have to do a lot of things. Whereas if you have different locations and different talent around the world, you can actually give them really good working hours and still get that coverage at a fraction of the cost and give your customers the best experience. So that's really how we try to help people and what we look to do. And it's not about the old-fashioned view of, let's cut jobs within the local regions. It's about supplementing those jobs, making those people focus on the tasks that generate revenue for you, and giving people the chance all around the world to actually help each other and become part of that company in the front line there.
Yeah, I love I agree with everything you said there. And I love the part you talked about how you manage the outcomes, but you focus on making sure that the people are able to do with the work they need to do and supporting the employees first. And I think that's such an important thing that so many companies fail to do well, is to support their teams now. Yeah, I feel like I'm saying on almost every episode these days, but it's like, if all the people didn't show up to work at your company, you don't have a company. You can have the fanciest tech stack and the most, like, the best offices or the best cloud-based infrastructure and stuff, but if the people don't show up, you don't have a business. And it's having the right people and equipping them and supporting them in a way that empowers them to do their best work, that leads to the best results for your clients and your customers. And so, of course, having teams around the world that can provide that experience for your customers on local time, who understand the local, like, customs, especially if they're dealing with, like, clients around the world, having someone who speaks the same language and is part of the same culture as those clients is going to give a better experience and build a stronger bond than if you're trying to deal with someone that's not in the same time zone, that doesn't understand, like, the local customs and that sort of stuff. There's all these friction points that you can avoid by having more diversity in the locations and the sort of people and the cultures you have on your team, and still build an internal culture that's strong, because all your different team members are getting that, they're focusing on, like, the contribution they're making to the outcomes that they all care about, binds them all together. So while it seems like a big expense and really complicated, when you focus on the people first and understanding what they need, it's not, and all everything they have in common, it's not that difficult or not that complicated.
Correct. And what I try to do, and what I've done throughout my career, is try to get everybody to achieve as much as they want to achieve. Some people never want to get past being a salesperson, and that's perfectly okay. If that's your goal and you're happy doing that, and that's what really makes you tick, absolutely fine. I'll do everything I can to make sure that you're the best salesperson you can be. I'll give you the training, I'll help you, I'll work through problems with you. But what I want you to do is tell me how you're going to do it. So we want to close this account, we want to get this revenue. What can I do to allow you to get there? And that's kind of how we build it up. Some people want to learn and go really deep into, how do I manage people? How do I step up the ladder? Other people just I want to get my commission check, and I'm sure everybody just wants to get their biggest commission check that they can. But understanding the drivers for that, why people are pushing, why people are happy to stay there, is really, really important to get the best out of them. In this day and age, AI is taking over absolutely everything. I mean, if you just look on LinkedIn, I think every second or third post is, I've built this workflow, I'm doing this. If you want to get it, email me, follow me. Excuse me. But if you actually delve into it, if you don't have the human element within those workflows, you're just the noise in the crowd. So the real future and where we're heading and what's happening now is using AI as a tool to make people be the best version of themselves. And I'm a really strong believer and supporter of that. And some people are happy just with ChatGPT and asking a questionnaire to help them get the right answer. Other people are designing workflows to build in elements and software to help them get to where they want to be and to really push through. And I think it's really important that people understand that AI can do a lot of the grunt work. If we talk about sales, AI can do so much. And I've designed AI systems myself to really do a lot of the grunt work. But AI cannot build relationships with people, and relationships what makes the world go round and what sells and what gives you revenue. So I think that's a really, really important thing and a really exciting future for us. But people have to understand that AI is not going to kill relationships. So
Yeah, there was actually a article last month, a couple months ago, of a company that was trying to sell this AI sales tool that was like the AI was supposed to do the selling for people, and they were showing the logos of some supposedly like happy customers, and those clients came saying, "Hey, we did a free like month trial and it didn't work, and we didn't renew. Take our logos down. We're not a happy customer. Yours like it doesn't work." And so that startup got a lot of like egg on their face there, and had like, basically just showed that trying to replace a sales team with AI doesn't work, because people still and are always going to buy from people, and it's based on trust, and they're not going to trust an AI, at least not the same way they're going to trust a person. And so I think that I've heard stories of like companies trying to force their employees to use AI a certain amount in their work. And it's like, you're managing the wrong part of the process. If let people work the way that they want to work, that they do their best work, and give them the tools that they need, but don't force them to like do it a certain way, because that's not going to get their best workout, and it's going to often lead to them leaving because or just basically like quiet quitting, where they're no longer as productive, and you're wondering why like the outcomes have gone that you're supposedly trying to achieve are no longer being met. And it's because you're not giving people the autonomy with their work anymore, and that kind of misalignment of how to use these tools and how to support your team is something that I'm sure you've seen a lot, or you help with people a lot, because there's this, especially when you're dealing cross-culturally, and it's something that probably the biggest thing I've learned from being able to travel to 25 plus countries around the world is that everyone deals with a similar kind of daily challenges in life when it comes to the human experience. And there's different ways of solving those problems. And it's not just one right way or a wrong way to do it. There's like option A, option B, option C. And so I think a lot, especially when people promote like the best at someone who's best at doing the thing and not necessarily how to lead, they think that, oh, everyone has to do it the way I did it because I was also promoted because I was the best at it. So, well, that way works for you, but everyone else, that's not going to be the way that works them. And just replicating your process isn't going to give them the same results because they're not you. And so when you start working cross-culturally and you're having people with very diverse experiences and values and backgrounds, trying to control how they work or like the way they work is going to blow up in your face so momentously, because you're not respecting people for who they are as a person. You're looking at the job title and the responsibilities and trying to force them into a box that is not a natural thing.
I completely agree. And I'll actually tell you a funny. So when we were, when I was first starting in my career and I first started managing people, I had a really great guy who was working for me who came from New Jersey, never sold anything before in his life, and really wanted to be a good salesperson. So I said, okay, no problem. I'm going to train you. You jump on a call with me, listen to what I do, listen to how I say and things like that. And then you go and replicate it and we'll take it from there. So jumped on the call. I spoke to the customer. It went really well. Everything was great. Got off the call. And then it was his turn to go and lead the next call. And so I sat on the call and listened with a look of shock and horror on my face as he proceeded to do the worst English accents as Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins, copied every word that I said in my London accent, and thought that that was how he was going to sell. And what it came down to in that moment is when I really started to understand servant leadership, and the outcome is the most important thing. So, for example, you want to close this account. It's not guaranteed that you're going to close an account. It's not guaranteed that this person's going to like what we're selling and like us and all of the things that come into it. But what can I do to prep you and help you, to give you the confidence to go and do your best job with doing this? It comes down to being a servant leader or being a task leader and a micromanager. So if I stood over his shoulder and said, right, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, the pressure, the growth within that person isn't there anymore. If I turned around and after the call, I was really upset that he took it literally and done the English accent. If he had done a better English accent, it might have been better, but that's not the point. It was right. Okay. We actually laughed about it and I said, listen, that's not what I meant. What I meant was, these are the key principles. This is what we're selling. This is the price. These are the levers you have to do it. Now sell to me as if I was the customer. And we sat there and he done really, really well. And he actually ended up closing that customer, but it taught me a really valuable lesson in, this is what we need. These are the tools I can give you. What else can I give you? And now in this, for an example, in this day and age with AI now everywhere, and the comment you made about certain companies saying you have to use this amount of AI, some people are still scared by AI. Some people find it hard to embrace it. They will put into ChatGPT, tell me how to sell X, and that will be their prompt. They don't understand the whole ecosystem. And that's absolutely fine. If they don't like it and they want to find that information from somewhere else, allow them to do it so that you can help and guide them. If you can teach them how to do it properly and they want to learn, that's a different story. Other people want to create workflows in NAN or one of the other things, and they just have a sales, it's just a numbers game. They just throw out everything that they can, and if they're spamming people and things like that. But where the real key thing within the whole system would be is, if you identify your customer profile, you keep that up to date as you're going through everything. That will then allow the people to target the right people at the right time. You can put markers down there and you give them the skills, you give them the timing, you give them the talking points, and then you allow them to go after that. That is how you grow people. That is how you really empower people to do what you want to do. And that's what I've been trying to implement with my team. And some people absolutely love it. Some people don't want to touch that side of things, and they want to go through LinkedIn and find people and try and connect that way. And that's absolutely fine as well. I just try and do what I can to help those people come along and be the best version of themselves they can be.
I think that mindset of servant leadership is also something that so many leaders, quote unquote, just don't have. And
Yeah.
there's a very much kind of industrial era, like 20th century way of thinking about leadership, and that they need to be the one giving orders and having all the answers. And in reality, the way that the lead today that actually works in the 21st century is that servant leadership model, where it's about asking questions, about empowering your team to make the best decisions in the interest of the company, because you've imparted to them with the vision and the mission, and they feel like they're contributing to something bigger. So you can trust them to do the right thing, and you know that everyone is rowing in the same direction. They're not all scattered. And when you've led properly, then your team are the ones that are achieving those outcomes without having to oversee them or micromanage them, because you know that they are in alignment and empowered to do the right thing and want to do what's best for the company. It's not this us versus them cat and mouse dynamic that so many leaders have with their teams, where it's, if they're not constantly monitoring and micromanaging, then they don't expect their teams to do make the right decisions or do things the right way. And that just ends up grinding people down and burning people out, and it doesn't get as good of an outcome as the servant leadership model that you demonstrate.
Yeah, I think pressure has a lot to do with it. I think people in management positions are under a lot of pressure nowadays. They've always been under pressure, but now, especially now, it's a lot more pressure to get results really fast. But we embed a culture of a rising tide floats all boats. So everybody's helping everybody, and everybody celebrates everybody's wins. If anybody's stuck, they can go to other people. And it's really important that when you start building a team and when you start setting the foundations of the culture you want to embed, that everybody feels like they're inputting and everybody feels like they're contributing. And I really feel, and it's a passion of mine, that any team that I build can run fully functional if I go on holiday for 2 weeks, which I would love to do. And I don't, hopefully I can get a week or two off with my baby who's just about to come. But it's really important. And I have the confidence in them that they're going to make the right decisions based on all of the previous things that we've done. And if they need to contact me, they can contact me. But I don't want them to feel pressured. And Karl, I learn every day from my team as well. And that's something that a lot of leaders should try to do. Learn from your teams. It's not just you trying to teach all the time, because people have different world experiences. People understand cultures better than you. And if you're constantly open and it's a two-way street, you're teaching and learning, it makes you a better leader, it makes your team better, and it joins everybody together. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much for connecting with me today, Adam. If you enjoyed this episode of the Human Connection podcast, please like, leave a review, and share it. If you'd like to connect with myself or Adam, check out the links in the show notes. And remember, no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Happy connecting.